Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Craig Rispin. Craig's been in the future since the past began. And I've got to read while I've got my glasses on, because to be perfectly honest, you can't memorise this. Craig Rispin is a business futurist and innovation expert. His expertise is in emerging businesses, people and technology trends, and how companies can profit from them. Craig has over 20 years' experience working where the future is being created with some of the most innovative companies in the world. He has addressed audiences as large as 16,000 people on 5 continents and has consulted with CEOs of leading companies worldwide. An award-winning speaker and CEO mentor, Craig shows his clients how to know first, be first, and profit first. Welcome, Craig.
Thank you. I work in every industry you could imagine, including some industries I don't even know what they are. They call me up and say, Craig, we want to invite you to the Agronomists Association. I say, can you give me a minute? Can I Google that? But no matter what I do, it's the rapid change that we're seeing, not only in Tesla, but these exponential companies that are changing everything. And our Association of Futurists, yes, it's a real job, have 25,000 members worldwide, and we're tracking these changes in every industry that you could imagine. They give me this briefing. Craig, I've been working in this industry for 30 years, and we've seen more change in the last 3 years than in the last 30. And I know you can feel it too. There's actually a feeling in the pit of your stomach. The great Alvin Toffler described it as future shock. And I know you're feeling it now because you can see that the world is accelerating at a rate that you might not even feel. Turn to the person next to you, ask them, do you feel that acceleration? You have 15 seconds. Your time begins now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know you can feel it. It's every industry that you can imagine. And I don't have a lot of time here this evening, so I thought we'd participate in a little accelerated learning. There's a fantastic series of videos that have been on YouTube since 2006, been viewed 500 million times. Put your hand up if you've seen the videos. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Wow, there's 2 people, so I'm actually obliged to play it then. This will show you the major changes in technology, in IT, in biology, in religion, in social trends in about 2 minutes and 16 seconds. And we'll accelerate our conversation here about the future of work. So watch this video with a learning partner. And at the end of it, would you turn to your person you just chatted with and ask them, what was the most surprising thing that they saw on the video? You've got your task? You ready to go? Here we go. opportunity, peril and opportunity, right now, right now. Which will you be, the disrupted or the disruptor? Turn to your learning partner, ask them what was the most surprising thing they saw in the video. You have 20 seconds. Your time begins now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And many people say to me, Craig, that couldn't possibly be true, that we would store the contents of the entire internet on strands of DNA. But this is already happening. I work in the data center industry, and they're all planning in the future. If you want to work in these giant, giant data centers powering the internet, in the future you will need a degree in biotech along with IT. Just look at this. Microsoft is already going down this path, have already licensed the first 10 million strands from a small startup in Silicon Valley called Twist. If you'd like to know more about this, a great lecturer at Singularity University, where many futurists turn up, like Elon Musk, wrote a book in 2012 that talks about the 8 exponential technologies that are changing everything, and looking at the world's biggest problems and how these exponential technologies will save them. Did you read the book? Abundance, The Future's Better Than You Think. Hands up if you read it. Hands up if you haven't read it. Put your hand up if you're too embarrassed to put your hand up. Well, there's lots of people who say you should read it, including Elon, and an ex-president as well, put it on his summer reading list. I'll give you the highlights. The 8 exponential technologies that will change every industry, including the ones that you work in, are number 1, infinite computing. Number 2, sensors and networks. Number 3, robotics. 3D printing, which is a specialized form of robotics. Synthetic biology, digital medicine, nanomaterials, and artificial intelligence. And tonight, we're surrounded by 4 of those. It's not science fiction, it's science reality, and it's happening faster than you know. I just hopped on to the Wall Street Journal this morning to check to see how many billion-dollar startups there are. Maybe you'd like to go to the billion-dollar startup list. Tesla is no longer on it because it's a listed company. You can buy stock in it, but it was on the list. Look at this change. They've been tracking this at the Wall Street Journal since 2014, quarter by quarter, and you'll see the rapid growth of organizations valued at not $1 billion, but tens of billions of dollars, accelerating, and they're all being driven by these 8 exponential technologies that I just shared with you that you can learn more about in the book, which was called, what was that book again? Abundance, The Future's Better Than You Think, Peter Diamandis and Stephen Kotler. Maybe you're invested in some of these organizations. I know that billions of us have experienced them. Maybe the one at the top of the list, there's Uber at $68 billion. The second one is what? Does anybody you know who this company is? Xiaomi. They make the Mi phone. They're considered the Apple iPhone of China. They don't have any stores, but when they go onto social media, WeChat, and say, we've got several million models, would you like to order them? They sell out in hours. You can buy them here in Australia as well. Airbnb, Planeteer, Lufax, WeWork just moved to Sydney. A $16 billion co-working company has just opened up in Piermont. And the list goes on, including Elon's other company, SpaceX, that hasn't listed yet. This company, DJI, the biggest drone manufacturer in the world. You may have seen their iconic white drones in popular TV programs. They're an $8 billion company that could not have existed 5 years ago because we hadn't sold enough of these smart devices with accelerometers, tilt sensors, GPS. And now that we've sold billions of these and these chips only cost pennies, we can install them in a drone that you can buy at the local market here for $25. This company's at the center of it. We call them the exponentials, and you're standing in the middle of one right now. They have exponential thinking. They have a massive transformational purpose to improve the world, and they're changing entire industries with 1/10 of the capital investment, and will be reaping 10 times the revenue of entire industries. I'll give you a couple examples. You know about Uber. You know it's the world's largest transport company, right? How many vehicles does it own? 10. 10 of their driverless cars that they're testing in Philadelphia. They own 10, but they don't have to buy any taxis, do they? How big are they? Well, to give you an idea of scale, they're bigger than Ford, GM, and Honda, and they did that in less than 5 years. They are 7 times larger than the entire taxi industry in America, just to give you a scale. And they're not the only one. The list goes on and on and on, 149 times, or 157 last month, but many of them were acquired by companies including Microsoft, Google, and others. Airbnb is the world's largest what? Accommodations provider. How big are they? They're bigger than a couple brands you might know, Marriott and Hilton. Right now, who would you like to be working for? Airbnb, Marriott, or Hilton? One international hotel group said to me, the financial controller said, Craig, we've just invested $19 billion in real estate, and they haven't. It's really annoying. And Tesla, a company that could soon become the best-selling car in America. Not just a best-selling car, possibly, if they can build enough in their gigafactory, the best-selling car in America and many other countries around the world. I'll give you an example of this. Elon was interviewed right after the 3 launch. I was down there in Artarmon, St. Leonard's? Artarmon, right? And people were lining up. It was just like the original iPhone launch. It was fantastic. They had no idea what the price of the car was, but they were ready to put their deposit down. And if you look at the sales figures, they're just staggering. These are the top 10 best-selling cars in America. Toyota Camry's number 1 at 361,000. There are been in excess of 400,000 orders for the Model 3. Can you see how they just jumped over the 10 biggest selling cars in America and surprised a lot of people? And I have to tell you, there are billions of customers having extraordinary experiences at Airbnb and Uber and Tesla. And you know what happens next? They turn up at your place and they compare their incredible experience to this experience. This is what you're being compared to now. Just think about that. Or they download your app, if you have an app. If you'd like to know more about these exponential organizations, I don't have a lot of time to share this with you, but here's your homework if you'd like to study. After Abundance, read Salam Ismail's book, Exponential Organizations, that analyze the mindset that these new companies that have a whole new way of working think about organizing themselves. This is their mind map of how these extraordinary exponential companies think, and if there was a time to get out your smartphone and snap a picture of something, it would be right now. I'll just leave it up there for a moment. At the top, did you hear in Will's previous presentation, he started with a massive transformational purpose, MTP at the top. And they organized themselves in a right brain, left brain world with staff on demand as they need them, with contracts that are delivered electronically, with feedback every time that they drive in their Uber car, rapid feedback for every task that they do. It's a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of working, and it's why these exponential companies are disrupting every industry in the world. Look, I'm going to have to wind up my comments here in a few minutes because I've got 479 more slides and 2 minutes left. Don't worry. You'll all be sent a link, and if you'd like to ask me about the other 479, we can have a conversation in my electronic office hours that I offer every month. Maybe you should ask me about those others. But let's talk about the major trends that we're seeing in the future of work. Everybody was dismayed when the new employment data came out. We created 100,000 new jobs, but they were only part-time. I rejoiced because I can see that this economy is going the way that was predicted by a great futurist 25 years ago, Charles Handy, who said, in the future will be less like Detroit and more like Hollywood. And that's the world we're living in today. Multi-skilled, The World Economic Forum says you need 2 skills. You need to do a law degree and a communications degree, a science degree and have a background in public speaking, for instance. You need the soft skills and technical skills at the same time. And they analyzed, actually David Deming from Harvard University looked at the biggest job growth and the biggest decline in jobs, and it's those jobs that are multi-skilled and multi-contract are the ones that have been growing since 1980 till now. Like I said, it's more like Hollywood and less like Detroit. Think about how Hollywood works. They get together and produce a $600 million film, and at the end of it, the contracts expire, and the employees are expected just go find the next job. Everything that they use in a movie, they hire. They don't buy. And this is exactly what Charles Handy was talking about, and we're living in the middle of it. I know you can feel it, and so when you're upset about hearing those jobs were only part-time, don't worry. A lot of the on-demand gig workers that I know have 3 or 4 of these jobs with multiple contracts with these exponential companies. If you'd like to know more about this Committee for Economic Development of Australia is talking about 5 million jobs that will be transformed by those 8 exponential technologies. You can download the report free of charge on their website. Unfortunately, our education system isn't keeping up with it, with 60% of everything that they're teaching at university and 90% at TAFE no longer required in the modern workplace. This according to the Foundation for Young Australians, who are saying that Australians that are turning out with only 1 skill, some of them are taking up to 4.7 years to find their first job. Did it take you 4.7 years to find your first job? Hopefully it didn't. Guys, I'd love to share so many more. This is the last resource for you. I gave you 2 books. What was the first book? Do you remember? Abundance. And the second was Exponential Organizations. And there's this great video by C.G.P. Gray that's Humans Need Not Apply. If you'd like to know how this automation is going to change the world of work, do yourself a little homework favor. Watch this video. It's been watched hundreds of millions of times. I bet you if you have teenagers around your place, they already know about this. Guys, I'm going to have to leave it there. Like I said, you'll all be getting a link to join me in my electronic office hours to look at any of these other trends that we didn't have a chance to go over. But it's my time to turn over to John. Thank you so much for the invitation.
And I have to follow that. Right. Okay. Craig, that's excellent as usual. Thank you very much.